Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspiracy Theories. I'm Adam Forster.
I'm Robert Red.
And Rob, we've got a great show. And this is a serious show. It's an important show.
Yeah.
And it's a very important topic. So Rob, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so we're talking about something that's pretty sick, really.
It's the basis of humanity.
Yeah, organ harvesting.
Right.
Yeah, this is one that I spent quite a bit of time grimacing over. When I was kind of doing my fact checking and stuff. How this is. It's actually really predominant in the world. That I really didn't know it was as predominant until I started looking into it, and it's really terrible, especially when you get into like the Asian countries, like the Uyghur Muslims and the stuff in China that's happening with prisoners and all this. Ugh.
It's unreal.
Unreal.
Yeah. So you have because I think the first thing we have to talk about is each person, every single person on this planet is made in the image of God.
Yeah.
He's the one who made them.
Yeah.
So let's read a verse from the Word.
Yeah. So I love this one we found in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 11:5. Just as you cannot understand the path of the wind or the mystery of a tiny baby growing in its mother's womb, so you cannot understand the activity of God who does all things.
And, man in his hubris and arrogance.
Oh, yeah.
We think we know everything, right?
Right.
And then we actually do a little research. And because infertility has become such a problem in this country, they started doing a lot of research in the actual conception and how an egg actually gets fertilized. Mm-hmm. And they used to think that it was the fastest sperm that got to the egg first and got in there was the one that was happened. But as they have watched and examined and researched the fertilization process, and they have come to the conclusion, and they're blown away by this, that in fact, when the sperm gets to the egg, they stop, and then the egg tells one of them to come.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not a competition.
That's right.
There's intelligence, there's a sentience there directing the whole thing. Each and every baby is no accident.
Right.
Right? This is, no matter what the conditions of conception, that baby is chosen, right?
Yeah.
It's obviously the egg isn't sentient, right? It's not the one, but it is sending out an order which it's been given.
There's something going on there.
There's something huge going on, right?
That's got to be God, yeah.
Yeah, and so, of course, these scientists, they can't say the G word.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, that would get them disbarred, have their license pulled and everything for being unscientific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spend so much time trying to explain everything away, and it's.
I've heard it best. Trying to explain the creation of a computer without mentioning man,
Right, exactly.
Yeah. How did the computer come to be? Oh, well, over billions of years, it just came together. Right. And this operating system is just code that wrote itself.
Water flowed over a rock and goo.
And an apple came out.
Right.
And then an iPhone.
Right. Yeah, it gave birth to the iPhone. Right. That's right.
So each and every single one of us is such value, right?
Yeah.
God chose each one of us. Our DNA is no accident. Yeah. Now, because of sin and corruption, we do have awful birth defects and things like that.
Sure.
And also, there are environmental causes too, which can bring these about. But still, to treat a baby like it's some kind of an animal to be harvested.
Right. It's a clump of cells.
Right. Yeah. Let me get on to the second quote. All right. And so this is another favorite quote of mine, and it's in Jeremiah, and it's the very beginning of the book of Jeremiah. And God's speaking to Jeremiah and telling him, "Hey, you have a destiny. You have a future. I have a call upon your life." And the exact words are in this is Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. He says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Yep. Right? He knows us before we're even formed. Right. Now, this is what science has found out, right? Again, from observation, is that for the first 3 days after conception, you have one cell, then it splits into two, and then splits into four, and you have this rapid acceleration of cells being created. So up until about 240 cells, they're all extremely generic. And then all of a sudden, you hit that magic number, and they start to become very specialized. Toenails, brain cells, hair follicles, things like that. And then they start organizing themselves.
Yep.
Now, they know why each cell has DNA, so they know why that cell is what it is.
Sure.
But they can't find out who's doing the organizing, who's telling each cell to go where. They have no idea.
Right.
Because they can't say the G word, right? No, so
Right.
so again, God is forming us in the womb. He's the one who's put us in there. He's creating us. And science is like, But if they deny God, if they deny we're made in His image, then it's a free-for-all.
Oh, absolutely.
Then you can do whatever you want.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, and you look at us as cattle or livestock.
Yeah.
Right? These people that don't believe in a God and a creator. So there's no morality behind anything that you have to do. That leads to things like being able to sex traffic children, and then when you're done with them, harvest their organs and toss them out.
Yeah.
Just saying that out loud, just blows my mind. But to think, these poor children in Ukraine, there's so much there's so much of that's being coming out of Europe right now about these kids, the way that they're
trafficked. Especially vulnerable because in a war zone, parents are killed. You have lots and lots of orphans, a lot of chaos, and so they're very easily taken, and no one's looking for them.
No,
right? And unfortunately, in a war zone, the evil comes out.
Oh yeah,
they can just go on. I don't know if you remember when that tsunami hit Indonesia back in the turn of the century.
Yeah.
So MI5 in Britain, just out of interest, they compared airline manifests of people flying to Indonesia versus the known pedophiles.
Sure.
And they were horrified to see it was pretty much every pedophile in England was on a plane to Indonesia to go get them some orphans.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Savile had a fast pass.
Right. That is the evil, right?
Yeah.
They recognize innocence. They hunger for innocence and beauty, and then they have to destroy it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this really isn't anything new. There's this degrading of humans.
Well, especially like you hit it there with especially with children. The younger they are, the closer they are to God, right? The closer they are to that conception.
The more the innocence is beautiful.
Oh, they love to go after the innocent.
They really do, and
it hurts God more in their eyes. Anything they can do to anything Satan can do to hurt God and to stick that finger right in his eye.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for us, what is inconceivable to them is just every day.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. But this whole trafficking in humans and parts, it's not new,
No.
And it's weird because Western Christian culture, we know better, right?
Sure.
We know that. So in the Islamic world, where they imported an exponentially more amount of slaves from Africa than the West did,
right?
Slavery is fine in Islam, right?
Not
a big deal. In fact, I think they may even today still have slavery in Mauritania, where they had open air slave markets. So that was not a big deal. But in the West, we wanted free labor.
Right.
We wanted, and there's something about Africans. This is so beautiful. There's a beauty and innocence in those people.
Sure.
So they're like, well, how do we justify slavery? Oh, they're not human.
Right.
Right.
Right. Treat them like cattle. Yeah.
Treat them like, take away their personhood. Oh, God didn't create them. They're just a result of evolution, right? And so that made them the inhumanity. The treatment of those people as cattle was so easy. And we're seeing it again now.
Oh, yeah. And they didn't even really, they were only 3/5 of a human there for a little while.
And that was only for apportionment, right? They only wanted to give them that just so the South could have as many congressmen as they could get, right? They didn't really, it is sick. Yeah. And then we turn our nose up at that right now because we're evolved, we're a better people, right? Oh, yes, slavery is bad.
Right.
But you never hear them talking about Monday slavery.
Right. I mean, there are more slaves today in the world than ever at any point in history, in documented history.
And that treatment is horrific.
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's absolutely horrific. So you have these people who are being trafficked. You have the organ trade.
Yeah.
And that was really big 20 years ago, like in the Philippines, where they would snatch people off the street.
Yeah.
And take kidneys from them.
Oh, that still happens. And that's so 67% of the illegal organ trade is kidneys. That's the most popular. That's what they go for first. Because you don't have to kill the guy. You can just take one of his kidneys.
Yeah.
You know,
or two, but it's
if you want to kill him.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you don't care, and they
Right.
really, or maybe you want to keep them around late just in case they need another kidney.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah, typically they knock them out, they take a kidney, and they let them ride. But it's 67% kidneys. The second most popular appears to be liver. But they said it's next to impossible to really document how much of this is actually going on, because they only know about the ones that they've caught.
Yeah.
So in the States, it's 12,000 cases a year that they catch. And then you've got these ultra mega organizations like Planned Parenthood that every time they're taken into court over this stuff, the evidence comes up corrupted or something happens. And
do you remember James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, where they get on tape?
Yeah.
These abortionists talking about
the woman that I can't remember her name, but she was openly talking about.
Yeah, and the priceless, right? Because the closer they are to being delivered, the more their organs are worth, right?
Yeah.
And there was a priceless. Well, kidneys cost this much, skin cost, eyes, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They go to court. And Big Pharma tainted the jury, because then the jury turned around, found Planned Parenthood not guilty, and James O'Keefe and his journalists were found guilty of espionage.
Right.
And they're like, wait, what? How?
Right. And later the charges were dismissed.
They had to be.
O'Keefe Group, but back then it was Project Veritas.
Yes,
when
Project.
he was with them.
Yes,
Now he's OMG. But absolutely ridiculous. But it's big money. You're going to Planned Parenthood to billions of dollars, and that's Satan's gemstone right there.
It is, and it goes straight to the Democrat Party, right? They're funding a huge, especially with USAID, out of the game. So they're really needing that money, from the teachers' unions and from Planned Parenthood.
Sure.
So it's evil. They know it's evil,
Yep.
And yet we, the American people, are sleeping. We tolerate it. Now, I told you that. I don't know if we talked about it last thing, but there's been 30 million abortions in this country since it was legalized.
Yeah.
And now it was interesting because the justification for Roe versus Wade was right to privacy.
Right.
Well, what about the right to life of the person inside?
Yeah.
And I heard this. This is someone else's brilliance, but not me. What is it that makes a person unique at the scientific level?
Right.
It's DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a baby is part of the mother's body, it would have the same DNA as the mother, but it doesn't.
Right.
The baby has its
own
own unique DNA from the very beginning.
Yes.
So it's not my body, my choice at that point. It's another body inside your body.
Right.
And I mean, and so these people are like, oh no, we have the right to kill because it's our privacy.
Right.
No, we okay. I mean, filling out your taxes at the end of the year, where's your privacy there, right? You don't have a right to privacy. But it's weird, the justification. I heard a lawyer put it, he said, if you really want to sum up Roe versus Wade, and this guy is on the Supreme Court bar, he practices and takes courts before the Supreme Court, so he knows what he's talking about.
Sure.
He said the justification was, if it's good enough for a pagan country, it's good enough for us.
Yeah, it's terrible. They just had, just like how we had the opportunity to repeal it, because we had a conservative majority in.
Yeah.
They had a liberal majority in at the time, and that was in that case though, it was a true example of litigating from the bench.
Yes.
They were making stuff up. That was not the way that it was so loosely interpreted. There was no case law or precedent for
no.
them.
But we've seen a lot of that in the 20th century.
Yes, we have. Yeah,
and so now when recently when the Supreme Court said, oh, it's up to each state, I'm like, you chickens.
Yeah.
I was really angry.
It's a step in the right direction, but it's still chicken. Yeah.
It's not really, because they've now sidestepped it. They've punted, right?
Sure.
So civil rights is the purview of the federal government, right, and of the Supreme Court. It's
see that.
It's their job to protect. That's why we have the Civil Rights Act of '64, and then the Voting Rights Act of '65, and all the other Civil Rights Act, the 10th, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, right?
Yeah.
They were to protect a minority group.
So you're saying they're chickens because they didn't just call it murder,
Yeah,
and get it done with.
And we gave
That makes sense.
we took up the case for the freed slaves, right? We said they are citizens. Yes, all citizens get the same rights, right? If you're born in this country, you're a citizen. So all that applied to all the blacks, all the former slaves, right? So it didn't matter what state they're in. Now all of a sudden, oh, you're a baby. Well, we're not going to apply the same set of circumstances and protections to you as we did earlier. So what they're saying is the government really has no role in civil rights.
Right.
Either they're human or they're not human. It doesn't matter where they were born, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good opinion. I was happy that at least they said federally they have no jurisdiction, at least to that point, to where,
Well, do they have to be born for the federal government to...
Yeah,
See, that.
I hear what you're saying. I do wish that they would have just come out and outright said that it's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the science has
under-
changed so much. Our understanding of the science and the research has gone so much further than it was in '73 that we know without a shadow of a doubt it's not a clump of cells, right?
Right.
We know it's alive. We know they have brain activity. We know they have a heartbeat. So, and yet, the money.
Yeah.
It's the money as usual, and evil.
Yeah. I think the court was almost saying that, though, that you have a right to be evil if you want to be evil. It's almost like in America you have the right to be an idiot if that's
do,
your,
right?
And that it sucks a lot of times because you got to deal with a whole lot of stupidity.
Right, but you can be as stupid as you want as long as you're not affecting other people.
Yeah.
Right? And then...
But I think that's also what they were saying, is that if you want to live in a state that's immoral and you want to live in a state that
well,
is
let's apply
not
that to
Christian.
slavery, right? Well, if you want to live in a pro-slavery state, then go ahead.
Oh,
right?
I'm not saying I agree with it. I think it's terrible. But that's the problem with with freedom. As far as total freedom to live in any form of debauchery that you want as a man. If we're left to our own devices and we don't put God back into the system, we don't put God back into our law, and God back into our schools, and God back into our lives, this is the kind of stuff you're going to wind up with Las Vegas for every state.
Yeah. I love this verse from Ezekiel. Let me read it to you because it just speaks to this right now. Exactly what you're saying. He says, I will do these things unto thee because thou hast gone a whoring, right? This is King James, right? After the heathen, and because thou art polluted with their idols, right?
Yeah.
God's saying, he's telling the Jews, he says, I'm bringing judgment on you because you have prostituted yourself. You've abandoned me.
Right.
You have taken up the practices of your neighbors, right?
Yeah.
And so the worship of Gog and Magog and also Baal, right? I mean, what they would do, the cost, when they say, what it'll cost you your firstborn son, that's what it
literal.
was. It was absolutely literal. It was,
and the way it was done into the bronze hands,
the glowing
the fire.
red hot, bronze statue. Well, how different is that from
alive.
dismembering a baby in the womb?
Oh, that's very true. Yeah.
Right? Or the baby's born and then leave it on a shelf and let it die with the it just.
I don't even understand how that could be put in the same, into that same category where you're still classifying that as an abortion. I understand to a very, very limited degree why some people, health of the mother, rape, incest. Although I know people that have that were the
born from
product
those orphans,
of rape, and they're very happy that their mom did not abort them.
Right. I mean, it's the one. Totally innocent person from those circumstances is the one being made to pay the price.
Absolutely.
And so it's still
so
murder.
twisted.
It's a horrific situation.
Yeah.
But in the end, you're still killing.
Yeah.
And it's the money.
Yeah.
It's the complete lack of awareness of God and His love and His mercy.
I agree. There's a special place in my heart for those women that, despite those circumstances, they still have the child. There's adoption. There's other things that you can do if you just can't. I don't know what I would do if I was in their shoes and I had to look at a child that was conceived from that relationship. That would be. I can't speak to that. That would be very difficult. But I know
but a baby born out of those circumstances, God loves to make lemonade out of lemons,
oh, yeah.
right?
God loves them. I'm just saying that the emotional distraught
Oh,
on
yeah,
the mother,
right.
itself.
But the thing to do is to, one, not isolate them.
Yeah.
Right? Not let them wallow in shame,
Sure.
feeling that it was their fault at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, in our school, we actually have a policy on pregnancy because we have high school kids, right? And it may or may not happen that one of the girls might get pregnant, right?
Sure.
Do we kick them out?
No, of course not.
No, this is when they need support.
Yeah.
This is when they need a
Absolutely.
community around them who will say, "Hey, yes, you did make a mistake, but it's not the end of the world, right?
We're all sinners.
Yeah, we're all sinners, and now we're going to help you through this.
Yeah,
because that's what we do as Christians.
I feel the same way about homosexuality. As far as like homosexuals coming to church, people are talking, "Whoa, they can't be in here. You got to kick them out. You got to kick." What are you talking about? Whose church is this? Is this your church?
It's the church of the perfect people.
Right. Yeah. Oh, great! We got a whole bunch of saved people in here. That's awesome.
Yeah, right. It's the people who need it the most, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So organ donating or organ harvesting, abortion, slavery, human trafficking, and I'm also gonna, the parents who make their children undergo radical gender reassignment surgery. It's all the same evil.
It is. It is.
It's the attack on innocence. It's the attack on beauty.
Yeah.
And I do believe we're about to see God's judgment.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing it in Europe now.
Sure.
Their birth rates have plummeted.
Yeah.
I mean, Greece is like 1.1 children per
Italy.
couple. Italy, Spain, they're just imploding.
Yeah.
Britain is not far behind at 1.3. Germany at 1.3. France at 1.5 or 6. And they're now, I mean, Australia has just affirmed Sharia law because half of all children in Austria are immigrants, are Muslim children.
It's crazy.
It is. We are, and that is not a culture that meshes well with Christianity.
It doesn't mesh well with any other culture.
None, right?
Outside of their own. That's it.
It's submit.
And
right?
they still don't even get along with each other.
No. But, well, Christian's the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true. How many denominations of Baptists do we have?
Right. So, but as it comes in, and you see them in American cities, they move in, they set up a storefront or maybe a temple or mosque as they call it, and then they start pushing other store owners out. And they set up their own patrols and they start to dominate that neighborhood. And then they move on and they start building and building and building. And they are there. I was up on Skyline Drive a week ago. I couldn't believe how many Muslims are up there. I mean, however many Muslims our government tells us are in this country, double it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's astounding.
Yeah.
And the Muslim, I mean, I wouldn't mind having Muslim neighbors. They don't drink.
Yeah.
They're well behaved. They're well mannered. Unlike American kids.
Yeah. That's true.
But at the same time, they're bringing a culture which does not play fair.
No, and they would just assume to see you dead, then
Well, they have the choice, right? It's tax, or kill. Yeah,
right. And even if they tax you, they can still kill you.
They have that option. So. Yeah. We're watching judgment on the West. England and the rest of the European nations got into abortion quicker. Mm-hmm. We have aborted 25% of the Generation Z. Yeah. This is...
Well, it's become a form of contraception, It's the new condom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... we're watching a Holocaust being perpetrated by us, on us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, We're in trouble, guys. We really are in trouble. We've done it
Right.
to ourselves. We have normalized it. We have people going around saying, "Oh, I've had abortions," and like it's something to be proud of.
Right.
And you know, like,
Right.
and Planned Parent's like, yes, come. And here's another thing I didn't know, is the placenta. After
yeah,
a baby is
yeah.
born, it is the single richest source of stem cells.
That's right, yeah.
And so so it's illegal for a regular parent to
Right.
sell their placenta, right?
Right.
But the hospital can.
Yeah, sure. It's perfectly legal for them to sell it
Yeah.
for research or whatever. You think that would offset, if because they do that quite frequently, you think that would offset
At
the cost. Yeah.
right? Well,
Right.
they should pay you to have children in their hospital,
Exactly.
right? I mean, and a placenta, they start at about $20,000 to $30,000,
Yeah.
and depending on the DNA of the mom,
That's right. How rare it is. Yeah.
how rare, it can be up to $500,000.
Yeah. But at the low end, it should cover your
Absolutely.
your entire hospital stay. Every bit of that, and I don't want it. What am I going to do with it? I'm not going to
Go
make
home
a
and-
statue out of it or something.
Right, yeah.
Give it. Yeah, sure. Science, you can have it. Better humanity. It beats using aborted fetuses and all this other nasty stuff that they do.
Yeah.
They've got plenty. They've got
Yeah.
plenty of people born every day to do what they need to do with what they have.
They do.
disgusting.
This lady told this story that she gave birth and that she had a doula who was like a midwife. And the doula asked the obstetrician, could she have the placenta? And the doctor's like, sure, whatever, right? So she puts it into a cooler she had brought and leaves. Now, a couple of minutes later, you have a guy in a suit come in and starts poking around, leaves. And then a couple of minutes later, a couple of orderlies come in, start poking around, and leave. When they're asked what they're doing, they say, oh, we just lost something. They wouldn't even admit to what they were looking for.
Oh, yeah.
Until about 2 hours later, they're getting very worried.
Yeah.
And they're really like, where did the placenta go? And they're like, oh, the lady took it. When, she left a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of money that walked out the door, which they don't want anyone to know about.
That's right. Absolutely. It's terrible. Yeah, I mean, faith in institutions. How can you have faith in institutions anymore when stuff like this is just ready practice?
It shows you the heart, right?
It's terrible.
I mean, they were. I mean, like during COVID, someone's got COVID. They come in, they gave them the vaccine anyway. It's like, no, vaccines don't work like that.
Yeah.
You vaccinate to stop them from getting it.
Right.
If they've got it, the vaccine's not going to be effective.
The people, when they're unconscious, they're getting stuck with the stuff. Wasn't even voluntary.
No, it was not.
Yeah,
No.
and it's like I didn't even have COVID. Now I'm sick.
Right. Yeah.
Or I've got whatever this gene modification nonsense is that's now in me. Yeah, it's completely nuts.
So if you have faith in the healthcare system,
Which I do not.
and no one should at this point.
No.
They have not earned it, and they knew. Like you saw nurses standing up.
Yeah.
A lot more nurses stood up and said
Sure.
no. They were willing to walk away from
Yeah.
their license and their profession.
Well, doctors aren't there to make you better. I mean, they're just not there to make you better anymore. They're there to treat you and continue and get you in a treatment program and keep you in this
for a
perpetual
lifetime,
loop.
yes, that you will be a
Yeah.
patient for life.
Here's a pill that'll give you a symptom, and I'll give you a pill for that symptom,
Right.
which will give you another symptom,
Yeah.
I'll give you another pill
Yeah.
for that. It's killing. Look at statins. How many people are on statin meds now that are having
Right.
all these heart problems, that are dying from heart attacks from taking statins?
Right? And now it turns out blood pressure isn't as bad as they thought it was. High cholesterol
Right,
isn't
right.
as
Your brain is made of cholesterol.
right. Yeah, right. So yeah, it's
Yeah, it's nuts.
it is nuts,
Yeah.
and it's coming clear.
Yeah.
It's coming very clear. So please, if you know a girl who's pregnant,
Yeah.
speak to her, help her through this, embrace them.
Yeah.
They need financial support.
They need love.
They need love. They need help. They need encouragement.
Yeah.
And we need to really get into the healthcare business and get elected politicians who will put them out of business.
I agree wholeheartedly. Homeopathic care is something that needs to be revisited. We we really do have to get back to our roots. God's given us everything we need to heal ourselves through the Holy Spirit and through just everything He's put on the earth that's around us.
And apparently one of the best things you can do if you're sick is to fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Fasting 2-3 days is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
There was a lady who, she had stage 4 cancer. She went to go see a homeopathic doctor.
Yep.
And he said, and he put her on a regimen of fasting and
That's
eating,
right.
staying off sugar and stuff like that. So she goes to see the doctor, and her cancer's completely gone.
Right, imagine that.
And he goes, oh, well, it's just a coincidence. Right?
Just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence,
You actually get into cell regeneration, and your body starts healing itself and eating all of that.
Yes, that's the bad stuff. The body
all that
will
bad
consume
stuff.
the bad stuff
Yeah,
first.
and kicks it right out.
Yeah.
And parasite cleanses. Oh, we can get into
Right, that's a whole nother thing,
Yeah.
right? But again, our nation, it's not political what's coming to us. It's judgment.
No, it's judgment.
It's God,
Yeah.
right? And he's got the hammer out, because
That's right.
it says, it's better for a millstone to be hung around your neck than to hurt one of my little ones.
That's right.
Well, we're hurting tens of millions. Right? And he's not doing because he hates us and thinks, he wants
God loves us. Yeah.
to stop.
Yeah.
Right? It's like having a drug addict and living in your basement, and God, there comes a time where you have to stop enabling, and you have to
That's right.
say it's time to stop using.
Yeah. You got to kick them in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, this has been a fun show, an important show. It's been a good show.
Yeah.
All right. But this is something to keep on mind, that we have brought doom upon ourselves.
Yeah.
I use the word judgment, but really it's just consequences for actions. God's like, okay, I've held it back long enough. I was hoping you guys would change. I was hoping you guys would stop.
Sure.
But now I have to let this happen because it's too much.
Oh, yeah.
Now, anyway.
Going into Babylon.
Yeah, yes, indeed. All right. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Conspiracy Theories. What is a conspiracy? The conspiracy is that the healthcare industry is in the business of selling body parts.
They're in the business of making money.
Yeah, and they'll sell body parts hand over fist.
They'll sell whatever they can, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, they have no... And they want you to come in and leave and not be any the wiser.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people die very quickly in a hospital.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's not a place to get well.
No. Oh, in fact, now there's also been patients who've had body vital signs, right? And they've been...
Oh, yeah, they're still moving.
Yeah, but because they're an organ donor...
That just went through Congress. They had a whole hearing. They had to kick out the agency, or not the agency, but the organization that was doing it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, RFK was just on the news. I'm so happy he's in there right now. He is doing so much. I know there's a lot of naysayers out there about.
But hey, he is way better than what there was nothing.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
He's now doing what has never been done before. Like saying in medical school, you got to study nutrition, right? Yeah. How basic is that?
All this research into autism. I mean, that's very personal to me. But they, 1 in every 36. And that's not a pandemic.
And that's plummeting. It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Every year.
So the conspiracy is that the hospitals are not there to make you well.
No.
And if they can knock you off, so they can sell your organs, they will do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't ever check organ donor on your driver's license.
Yeah. Don't believe brain death. That's not a.
That's so true, right?
Yeah, don't believe brain death. That's not a legit thing.
No.
Yeah.
No.
they're just trying to get your goodies. That's it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because if they can be there the instant you die, then they can get. That's when your organs are worth the most.
Yeah, I always thought it was crazy when they pull you off that ventilator to do the aspiration test. I think is what they call it. It actually causes your brain to swell and some other, like when they take you off that ventilator, which it does more damage than good. I understand the whole concept. Well, if your body's going to do it, that reflex is going to kick in and you'll start breathing on your own. But there is no such thing as brain death. So that unless they caused it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So. Right. A little too much of one drug. Oops.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, don't be an organ donor.
No.
Hospitals are not. They're there to make profit.
Yes.
Number
they
one.
are profit organizations.
Yes.
Yes.
And
profit driven.
And Ferraris don't buy themselves. They don't grow in trees.
That's very true.
And beach houses in Maui are
That's very true. Yeah.
not cheap. So
No.
anyway, we were fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes, we were.
And God is so good. All right, until next time, God bless.